Next thing, we go into our research tab. Since transfer is blocked out, we don't have any additional bases. And we're left with these three options, and all three of them will undoubtedly be researched at some later point in time, but currently it's your preference. I prefer continuous wave laser operations. This will unlock laser weapons, and most importantly, my favorite weapon in the game, heavy lasers. Heavy lasers have very good accuracy at very good ranges, and does moderate amounts of damage to heavy amounts of damage, depending on their range. Alien origins will allow you to dismantle alien UFOs that we will encounter and even capture. And electromagnetic rifle is self-explanatory. These are your railguns, your coil guns, anything that does with magnets that projects projectiles. I'm not a fan of electromagnetic weapons, personally. And some people may like it more than I do, but I prefer lasers. But there are also drawbacks to lasers later on. Now we have production. And these are producing your own items that you don't need to buy from the store. And I will start production on the polymer aircraft armor. And like anything, I do want to keep my units alive, my aircraft alive. I do not want losses, because losses means costing money, and costing money means less opportunities of purchasing other equipment or even other bases. So I'll be doing that for now. And for the hell of it, let's make him start on the ACM unit, another targeting computer. Generally, I'll buy ammunition just on the market, but some people may be very frugal and purchase their own, or produce their own equipment, even their combat armor. But to me, there's no reason why not to equip anybody with combat armor right now, unless you want them to have a lot of time limits, which I'll get into that. Containment is, of course, our alien containment facility. Live, dead, whatever aliens that we may encounter, they'll be shoved in there. Amazingly enough, dead ones can be shoved there in the thousands, but we can only have 10 living ones. Hospital self-explanatory, and our base summary tells us the general information of our base. Occasionally I'll check in with this to see how everything is doing. And this shows you how many bases that we currently have in operation. We currently only have one, but we can select many different ones as they become available to us and as we build them. Anyways, enough of this. Let's get back to the geoscape and actually do something other than prepare and explain what everything does. Oh, I forgot one thing. Employees. These are where we can recruit additional individuals for our cause, but the point is rather mute, since we pretty much have everybody employed and we don't need any more pilots. So, with that, we have our installation here, and this represents our radar. All active and initial contacts can only be shown in this inner circle. So, if we have a UFO contact, they have to go inside this zone before we can actually understand that it is a UFO that we see. And once we start tracking that UFO, we can track it out to this outer circle here. And once they leave that outer circle, we lose tracking. I'll explain more about this as we get additional bases and how they can assist each other in tracking UFOs once we spot them. But generally speaking, you want as much landmass cover as the inner one, and the outer one can be wherever, out into the ocean or whatnot. So I have pretty good placement in this. Not exactly, great compared to somewhere around here, which has significantly more landmass, but that's besides the point. And let's move time forward, and we can see our aircraft has been refueled for whatever reason. It must be rather new. And this is 5 minutes, and 5 minutes is very slow in this game, but that is the default speed. Every time certain events occur, it'll pause the game and show you what happens up here and the time which it happens on the side. So we can see the targeting computer was placed on both of them as well as the ECM unit. So let's not time lapse by 5 seconds, nor 5 minutes. Generally, it'll be 20 minutes. And we'll see that sun go around the Earth, whereas it's actually the Earth rotating, going around the sun. Spare Hawk missiles was replaced to the Apache. Yada yada yada. And if this is too slow for you, and once you get over the splendor of the rocket pods, of having, you know, this kind of effect going, so the lights are going out, then you can just speed it up to an hour. And then you can speed it up to 12 hours. And absolutely nothing is happening. And people are changing their happiness because shit is probably going on out here. Okay, we have our first radar contact. It is this UFO is traveling at 70 kilometers per hour, which is not very fast. So let's intercept it with our Apache. That should be outfitted. And you can see that it'll plot an intercept course to it if it has the speed to catch up with it. If it doesn't, then generally it'll make a straight trajectory to it, and it will never catch it. So just that point, and let's do it by 5 minutes. The inner red circle indicates its attack range, and likewise, like a radar, the inner circle is initial detection, the outer circle is tracking. So now we are tracking it. And it has disappeared. UFOs can do that, because UFOs can enter our atmosphere and go above it. So it saw a threat, figured that it can't match it, and has evaded us, much to my discontent or displeasure. So let's move time again. We have a second UFO contact. This time it's to our west. No drill, and it seems like it'll be heading straight toward us, even though its current orientation is away from us. And there you have it. And I am predicting an actual shoot down on this one, so I'll be sending our payload out. And I do this because it decreases the response time once the UFO gets shot down, when our units can get deployed immediately onto that battlefield. Otherwise known as the battlescape. So we have contacts, missiles are firing, and UFO has crashed without our Apache sustaining any damage. So that's great. And it'll automatically return to base after it completes its sortie. And we select a crash UFO. And our payload is only 47 minutes away. I believe this is as good time as any to save our game. So let's save it on playthrough part number 1. And in order to save it, you have to select it and push enter instead of just double clicking and whatnot. And it'll tell you more information as you hover over it. So let us continue. Alright, our aircraft has reached the location. We will not auto-mission this. We will enter the battlefield, the battlescape. Get some taste of some action. Okay, this is the battlescape. We have alien contacts right off the bat. They seem to have known that we're going to arrive. And the 3 up here determines enemy contacts. You can cycle through them, very handy. This is a 3D environment, so you can do that, and do all sorts of crazy things. I like to use my WSASD to move around the screen. And we have our first contact right next to us. So we will eliminate this contact. It's only a 44% chance for a 3-round burst. So, single shot, of course, has a higher chance, but I will risk the 3-round burst. So it's not dead yet, and we shot it several times. Let's try again. And now it is dead. So we have our first successful kill. One soon to be a many. Alright, so I just engaged that alien outright because it was at close range, and luckily the person to engage them was my shotgunner. So let's move her away. Whoa, they're moving a bit too quickly. I will change that. Under options, move that actor speed down a little bit so you don't instantly move to whatever location. So I want to see him move. The blue bar here represents time units, and as you can tell by performing actions as shooting, moving, ducking, whatever, utilizes time units. And that might be a little too slow now, but we'll just dig with that. So anyways, moving to that location has depleted her time units, and the orientation of your units matter in spotting enemies. So she will look this way, because as you can tell, nobody was exactly looking that direction. And she'll remain looking that way because she has no further time units. The red bar represents her health, and the bar underneath that represents morale. And morale goes down when people die, when you get shot, and when things blow up next to you, like your own fragmentation grenades when they bounce off of a surface and roll back down, which can happen quite frequently, much to my dismay. Anyways, so we have a good starting position. We already have sights on 3 aliens, and this one is relatively close, and our sniper is going to take a knee to increase her accuracy, or his accuracy. Yes, him. So we'll be taking an aim shot at this alien. This is at 81%, which is very good, but we'll see if it works. And it does! And we do not have enough for a follow-up shot, so our guy can stay there for now. Grenade launcher guy can move up behind this tree, and that is going way too slow. So bear with me as I increase this slightly up again. So moving 2 times faster now. Okay, he has reached his designated location. And ducking helps with accuracy as well as providing less of a target for them to shoot at. And of course, it helps provide cover, or visual cover too, in foliage. So she will be doing that. You can also cycle through your units by pushing 1, 2, and 3. And that can be useful if you can't find somebody that you want to go through, and you just cycle through them. So this guy is pretty far away, so he's going to be taking cover behind this tree. Yeah. And he has no more time units. So go to the next one. Take cover behind that rock. Rocket launcher specialist. This will be glorious. The rocket launcher is essentially a long distance sniper. They have extremely good accuracy over long ranges. The downfall to it is you can only shoot 1 round at a time, and you're very limited on the amount of ammunition you have. So it's a 50% chance. Let's increase that. Now it's at 67, but it does, if you look at the sight lines, it does have a risk of hitting that hill as well as a tree. So sometimes whenever you fire a shot, it can be at 99%, and the line could be green, but it'll just hit a tree. So it's not that 1%. It's the statistics isn't always that great. So, or the calculation. So you have to use your personal judgment. So I'm gonna just go for broke right now. So that alien just ate a rocket. Beautiful. And now she's out, she's crouched, and she's very vulnerable right now whenever you shoot off a rocket. Because normally you'll take the time units to set up, rather than to immediately shoot off a rocket and reload, in which then she'll still do not have enough time units to move around. So with that done, we can move our sniper a bit forward now, doing the crab walk. Yes. Our other sniper will go behind these rocks. Our shotgunner's done, and I do believe airby has moved, but to make sure you want to cycle through your 1 through 8. So I will be doing that right now. Let's see, our grenadier can move up some, but I'm not going to be doing that because you'll have our grenadier exposed to possible enemy fire, and the enemy do have pretty powerful weapons. So with that done, I'll finish this round. You can either push E for that, or by clicking this button up here. I prefer clicking that button because occasionally I will accidentally push E when I don't want to push W to move the camera. So you gotta be careful of that. Alien is moving up. And has not attacked. And of course we have civilians in the battlefield. Excellent. I use civilians as mobile cover personally, and so does the enemy. I know it sounds very bad, and generally you want to be saving the civvies, but civilians do not matter that much to me, other than pleasing whatever faction that this is taking place in. But occasionally you do just sort of want to, you know, watch out for civilians, try not to get them killed by your own friendly fire, but I don't put very much stock into them. Another interesting thing about civilians is they will move away from alien contacts that they see. So if all of a sudden you spot a bunch of civilians just moving towards you, you can expect that the alien is in the opposite direction. Consequently, if you see them moving away from you, the aliens are somewhere in between you and the civilians. So those are very good indicators. But this isn't always the fact. Occasionally they'll just move around or even towards other civilians just to group up. They sometimes do like to sort of clump up into a group. Anyways, our flamethrower individual get up, and we'll make a risky move by moving towards this position over here. And I just realized I didn't equip him with armor yet. So it's a flaw in my plan. Let's see if I have good sight lines on this alien, and no, I do not. The alien's taking cover behind those rocks. Alien in the rocks. I will. You can determine how much time units your individual have left over by the numbers associated with whatever area that you're hovering. It'll currently take 18 time units out of the 31 that we have to move to that location, and you can see further details down here. So we'll have 13 time units left. And if you're starting out, you want to make reservations if you want to pull off certain shots at enemies, so that way you don't use up more time units than you need to in getting into position before making that shot. Eventually, as you play along, you'll get better at determining how much time units you will need to pull off a shot, so you won't need to do something like making shot reservations very often, because it is time consuming. So I'm just going to do an example right here. Just crab rock to the edge of this bush, and turn off slot, no reservations, and see if we can pull off a shot here. And we still have no joy. And no joys from a TV series of something like SWAT in Canada, where they just can't get off a shot. So that's where that no joy stuff comes from, not something else. Anyways, let's just look at them for now. Another thing that slot reservations will allow your unit to do is pull off shots during your enemy's turn. But I typically do not use shot reservations for this. I use something else called reaction fire. And the shortcut for this is X on your key. and it'll automatically take up a slot reservation, and if the enemy moves in range and your individuals or whoever's speed is high enough, they'll take off a reactionary shot. And the longer the enemy is in that individual's line of sight, the higher the chance that they will take off a reactionary shot. Consequently, the aliens have this as well, and the aliens do reactionary shots extremely often. They have like incredible amounts of reaction time. So enough of me talking about the game. Let's move up, and I will not be using reactionary shot unless I do not have a shot on this guy, and indeed I do not. So I will be doing that. On the second thought, the person isn't exactly facing the right direction, so I will not be doing that. In fact, I'll put here, look this way, and crouch. Crouching is C if you want to know. Excuse me. And I'll be moving my assault team up this bridge. What I'm doing is a risky maneuver, but I know my units can at least hopefully take one hit, perhaps two. And generally you do not want them clump up like this because they are easy prey for a grenade. But looking at this alien, he does not have a grenade. He has a plasma pistol and some sort of bladed weaponry, so you obviously do not want to get into melee contact with him. Of course. Boom boom. Get you up, move you to cover. Shotgun, can move you to cover. So it seems like we only have one alien contact left. There could be more, but I'm feeling this is the only one. Cycle through everybody, make sure everybody's gone. No, they're not. This guy's not gone. I'll be moving up here. We're essentially bum rushing this alien. People might die, and if he does happen, he, she, it, pull out a grenade, we're pretty much screwed. See what he does. He's taking a pot shot at our sniper and failing miserably, and deciding to run up on top of the rocks in front of everybody. Not exactly the smartest tactical move. So let's get toasty. Once again, can make shot reservations, whatnot. I already know it's going to take at least 12 units, time units, to pull this off. Do this, and that's the reactionary shot from the enemy. And that's what I was afraid of. This is the downfall of people who can go into melee contact or close contact with aliens. Is that they can get prone to get shot by them as they approach. And she has died because of reactionary fire. And that is my mistake, because I tried to shoot and the alien shot again. So this is a good lesson on be careful of that. Minor losses. Let's retaliate for that. And that was a good shot. And that alien is dead. And it seems, there we go, victory. So we have one casualty. Jules killed, of course. 7 survivors. Since it takes here, we gathered items. And we gathered 9 different types of items out of 18 in all. So we had a first casualty of war now. Let's continue. I've probably broken this video up into segments by now, but I'm just gonna keep on running until I get tired or I have to do something else. We can secure our UFO now, and we can sell it to various countries, or we can store it, but we don't have any UFO yards, so that point is moot. The percentage up here determines on the health or the status of the aircraft that we shot down. So it's at 65%. The higher it is, the more you can sell it for, or the more parts you can get from it if you store it. So we will go here and see which one's willing to sell us for the highest prices. The United Americas. But we're not going to be selling to the United Americas. We're going to be selling it to Russia. Even though, you know, this was shot down in the United Americas, because the Russians are content. And you want them up to around pleased. And selling them things will make them happy. So, let's try and make them happy. So with our first casualty of war and our first successful missions, we are returning back to base. We need to watch out for those reactionary fires. This is one of the reasons why I do not like getting in close range contact from the front of aliens, because aliens seems to have phenomenal capability of pulling off multiple reactionary shots, even though reactionary shots for us require us storing time units. For the aliens, no such need. It seems like they don't need time units. It's just get in front of them, they'll shoot you again and again and again. So that'll be our lesson right now for me and for everybody else. So we have additional research, and these are the alien artifacts that we found. And the body that we found, of course. When you research something, it opens up new avenues for other research, as well as your units being able to use alien weaponry. And generally, there are not very many alien weaponry that we will be using. Pretty much because I am more leaning towards human-based weaponry. I mean, it's like Halo, and in fact, this plasma pistol does look like Halo. And didn't the Covenant invade Mumbai? Anyways. Let's see, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna continue to laser operations research. Let's see if we have any more new employees. No, we do not, so we've lost a person. So we're now at 7 strong. Yikes. So let's take a look at everybody again, and this is the reason why I don't like close range weaponry, including shotguns, even though shotguns with saber rounds are medium range. And I forgot to equip them with armor, which was probably the main reason she got killed. So let's try not to make additional mistakes and get additional individuals killed. So shotgun was very useful that time, but I'm not going to be using the shotgun now. Instead, I will purchase another sniper rifle. So what I'm trying to do right now is play on the strengths of my squad, because we are one duo. That. Everybody's armed, everybody's armor, he has close range weapon, everybody's medkits. He could use a couple more grenades or a combat knife. Let's go with the combat knife. Or she. I may name people, depending if I get messages saying, hey, I want to be such and such or such and such. I may just toss in your name up there if you want to be named in this playthrough. But be aware that you may die, and I don't care if such and such dies. I just care that a unit has died, and that has diminished my capacity to launch successful operations. So with that handled, let's make a UFO yard. This poses an interesting predicament that we have of not having one, being able to store UFOs. And let's put it where Area 51 is located. So I'm guessing it's around here. I could be wrong, but we will call it Area 51. It'll be built in 11 days, not just 3, and cost 30,000 credits. Acceptable losses. Or costs. And let's advance time. And production of our aircraft armor has been completed. Let's get that right on our Apache. Increased survivability. If I don't fumble this up. There we go. So we have 2 of them now. So let's install it on our Apache and let's install it on our Pavloom. So it'll be installed in 24 hours. It'll be installed simultaneously, hopefully. And as you can see, once we launch operations, people are gaining these little yellow things or white, green things right here, and that's whenever they perform a successful kill and they survive, they will get better with their weapons. It's a hell of a shocker, isn't it? So, occasionally it depends on if they go through any stresses or whatnot, and sometimes it'll just go up on close combat. I don't know why it came up on close combat. It's probably that snapshot that she made. That may be considered as close combat, but I'm not sure.